Welcome to the December 12th edition of the PFF Forecast. This is the Sunday night edition. We got a fun one here. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened today. A little Bucks versus Packers, second best in the NFC debate, or maybe first best. Who knows? We'll recap this week, overreaction, underreaction, and then we'll get on to week 15 and guess the lines. Let's rock. Alrighty, welcome in to the forecast. You have had a hell of a week here. You were at Army Navy yesterday. Not your Army, it turns out.
Yeah, I won money in that game, but I don't think I actually read the game properly. I think.
Did you read the Grey Cup properly?
Well, I won money on the Grey Cup.
Okay.
Still.
Did you read week 14 properly?
No, not well. All of our Wong teasers hit.
The teaser was a nice week for teasers.
We did get Green Bay eventually, but no, for Army Navy, I think I said this on Wednesday. I put a pretty big position on under, just because I thought it would go down, right? So I hit it at 36, 35, 34, and I figured it would get to 30, just because of the way it had gone 15 in a row or 16 in a row. And I wake up, Saturday morning, in New York, and I got people messaging me on Twitter saying, "Hey, did you get over?" And I think they're kind of trying to clown me because I look at Pinnacle and it's 36.5, and I'm like, wow. So and then the other thing that was interesting was in New Jersey, you can't bet on games played in the state while you're in the state. So I got to, because you can't bet New York, but you can bet New Jersey. So I get to New Jersey, and I'm trying to bet this game, and I couldn't.
They wouldn't let you.
So I'm just stuck there. And then
man.
the game's 17 points in the first quarter, 20 points the first half, 27 points with about, 20 minutes left to go in the game, and you're just sweating it out. The under ends up hitting. I still have a home. But Army did not cover. That was a smaller bet that I had than on under, but I didn't read that very well. And then
should have talked to me first.
Why?
I knew that Navy was going to win.
How did you know Navy was going to win?
They had played an actual schedule of real teams, and here's the key thing. Here's the very key thing. They were playing with a little bit of a heavy heart because just that week, a member of the SEAL Team 8 died in not a mission, but a operation test or something like that. So they had the patch on. I knew they had a little extra juice.
Our numbers liked Army a little bit though. It was
they didn't know. They didn't add it.
Didn't know.
You never built into the model.
Build it in.
Okay, I had a way worse loss though, because I read
the F1. Yeah,
I read the Formula One race perfectly. Okay, I had Lewis Hamilton. I had a large number of bets, including with a member of our social team I've shouted out now too many times on this podcast, Zach Tantillo. And I now, because of that heinous, if anyone watched, this guy led the race, Lewis Hamilton, led the race by about 12 seconds for the whole race. He was the better driver for the whole freaking time. The end of the race is literally 3 laps to go. Some moron who's in 19th place crashes, sends the race into a caution. Somehow, during this caution, Max Verstappen, who's in second by about 12 seconds, manages to go get new tires, which is a big deal in Formula One. New tires means you can go a lot faster. And then the racing steward is what they call him, the referee. This guy is going to be on an NFL field soon.
I have another. By the way,
how ridiculous this is.
Remind me to tell you about something.
Basically, finagles the entire thing so that the top two guys are right next to each other and restarts the race with 1 lap. And the guy with the faster tires, who's been behind the whole freaking race, manages to win in that last second and costs me. So here's what I'm going to have to do. In addition to having a little bit of a lighter wallet, I am going to have to wear a Steelers jersey for a podcast.
Okay. That won't take away the sting from the fact that the Steelers are not good.
That also means I have to purchase a Steelers jersey.
The CFL game, by the way, the Hamilton Ticats. So we had some 7-1 on them in the podcast. Of course, we had 5-1 on Winnipeg from way back in the day. So we were going to be fine. But we had more on Hamilton. They're up, of course, 12 with like 8 minutes left. They piss it down. They're like, not only they get to overtime. And they don't cover in overtime, obviously, because it was 3.5, 4.5. So that was brutal. But me and Dave Silfaro, found out that it's not an owner in the CFL. It's called the caretaker. Which your Formula One reminded me of that. It's a caretaker.
That's very interesting. Okay, let's talk about real football here.
Oh, man.
By the way, if you want a PFF subscription, promo code FORECAST, FORECAST, 25% off, and you can get all the tools that we use on this here podcast when we're going to guess the lines and when we're figuring out who we're going to bet on. In addition to all of the 0-100 grades, great article content, it could be yours for 25% off. Also, we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to tell us what you would like to see on PFF.com or what feature at PFF you like the most, go email us, contact@pff.com. Tell us which podcast sent you. I see them all. We see them all. Might just hit you up with a little gift. Free subs for you this Christmas season. So contact@pff.com. Email us. Okay, let's talk about that Packers game a little bit. And what I want to ask you is this. We talked about the NFC last week, and you were a big Cardinals fan. So I'm assuming you still have the Cardinals as number one. Who's the second best team in the NFC? Is it the Packers, the Bucks, or someone else?
Dallas too. Yeah, it's got to be Green Bay at this point, doesn't it?
You think so?
So okay, so I know I know the title of the show, so I know where you're going to come from. Obviously, Tampa's formidable. There's no doubt about that.
Right. But you're worried because
I'm worried because
gave up a lead.
I'm not even that, because honestly, this game made me feel better about Buffalo than it did. Like, I came out of that game thinking Buffalo's still a live team, you know? Mm-hmm. I also came out of the game thinking, okay, the tail event of the Super Bowl was a team without an offensive line and all this stuff. But, like, what we think about the league is still true, which is if you have a good offense with a good quarterback, you can beat good defenses in the league, right? And that's kind of what Josh Allen did in the second half of that game. I don't think it's like a character flaw for Tampa Bay that they couldn't hold that lead. I just think like that's the way the league is. When you have two great quarterbacks, the game is going to probably finish within a score. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really change my opinion of Tampa Bay in that game. Tampa Bay is going to lead our simulations. I believe after the game they had 19%. I have a position on Tampa to win the Super Bowl. Like I like them, but I would be interested to see Tampa play Green Bay.
Okay. I don't think that Tampa Bay is the second best team in the NFC.
You think they're the best team?
I think they're the best team.
Yeah, I know
and,
that.
I think that Green Bay is the second best team in the NFC.
But I don't think I said Arizona was the best team last week. I said they were most impressive.
Okay, well,
isn't that different?
Would you like to?
Yeah, I mean,
recreate your rankings.
So
we haven't seen Arizona play this week. Play tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and they play at home against the Rams in a game where they're only favored by 2.5. That would sort of imply that they're about the same power rating as the LA Rams. With a loss, you know, like Arizona's going to win all the tiebreakers with them, even if they lose. So, like, LA's got to finish ahead of them. So it's a big game for the Rams, less so for the Cardinals, so I can see, you know, maybe. But I think Arizona's the most impressive because my expectation of them, plus what they've had to go through with quarterback position.
Who's the best?
I think it does kind of go Green Bay, Tampa Bay 1-2. And
Green Bay ahead of Tampa Bay. If they played right now.
Well, if they played right now, Tampa would be favored.
Neutral field.
Tampa would be favored.
You would make Tampa the favorite.
But I probably would bet Green Bay. Like, I think they're that close. Like, if you gave me a field goal.
So what would you make the spread?
Neutral field, Tampa's probably -2.5.
Okay, so you think Tampa Bay is better?
I think Tampa Bay is better, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's.
You can't make the spread and then bet the other side.
No, I don't think the market is. I think that the market's a little down on Green Bay, and but yeah, I mean, I'm talking myself into this Tampa Bay because I just don't want to like cling to my priors, but I do think it's Tampa, Green Bay, and then I think Dallas and Arizona are about the same.
Interesting.
And then I think after that it's the Rams and the Niners are about the same. Like, not to like shit on the Rams, but like I think the Rams and the Niners are about the same. And then I think it's the Vikings are probably the best of the 6 and 7 teams, weirdly. And then it's like a bunch of crap with like the Falcons possibly making the playoffs with a minus 100 point differential. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so what I'm saying is if you had to book the game, you would book Tampa as a favorite. There's no way you'd book them you wouldn't take, like, I would say that would be the fair line. But if that was the line, I would take Green Bay.
If you had to bet.
Yeah, honestly. If I had to bet.
I think you're tiptoeing on a few things here, but that's okay. You're light on your feet, as we know.
Mm-hmm,
I would go Tampa Bay, Green Bay. I would also make it Tampa Bay minus 2.5, and that would be the fair line, and I wouldn't want to bet either side. And then I'll go Arizona. But here's what I'll say. I think all three of those teams are in the first tier. And then I think it drops to the second tier. And I'm with you. I would put Dallas in there. But I don't think Dallas is in the same tier as Arizona is. They simply have not, their consistency has not been there. And congratulations for beating a team that
beating the football team
that clearly didn't have their lives figured out. And then I would go the Rams. The Rams are I still think better than the Niners. Although the Niners have played really well.
The Niners, no. This is a slight against the Rams, in my opinion. Like, I think the Niners can play really well. I think getting hawked from behind by Cincinnati is a sign that they're not quite there yet. But like,
hold on, can we? So this is actually something I want to talk about with the Bucs, and I think it's true of the Niners. If you are playing a really good quarterback and you get caught, like if you have a big lead and you're playing a really good quarterback with a good offense, they're going to find a way. And the reason for that is that offense. What do you mean? That's a fact.
I think Joe Burrow's a fantastic
top
prospect.
5 graded quarterback at home with really good receivers.
And who's calling the plays?
No. The point is this. No. This is exactly my point. When you are behind, you have no choice. You have to throw the ball. So Zach Taylor's BS kind of gets washed away a little bit.
But I still think like I still think that's what's holding Cincinnati back from me.
I'm not saying
being like a great team.
The point is, losing a lead but winning the game should not be indicative of like you're.
I think I think going on the road and beating Cincinnati was an impressive thing. I'm a little like I'm still remembering them losing to Seattle last week.
Okay. Let's do this. We're going to do a little bit of a new segment here, which is going to be a win that doesn't mean as much as some people may think, and a loss that matters less than some people may think. Basically, like overreactions and I guess you could call them underreactions. So what was a win that you're not as impressed with this week?
I think this one's pretty easy. The Titans winning 20-0 against the Jags. The Titans. Ugh.
Yeah, so it's not something that you're taking away as the Titans have figured it out.
Yeah, the Jaguars are barely in it.
What
are the Jaguars lying against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Yeah.
On a neutral.
Look. That's where Urban Meyer's coaching next year.
Do they don't let that guy? Okay, they don't let him in the country.
You took a nice easy one. I'm gonna choose a hard one. I'm gonna choose
the Kansas City
violence,
Chiefs,
and I'm gonna choose the Kansas City Chiefs. And here's the thing.
Here's rolling your eyes at us talking about the Chiefs.
But here's the thing. I say this because I also want to thank you. Because on Wednesday, you talked me out of the Raiders as an underdog being a decent bet. And all your reasons were completely right. In addition to the fact that we realized that the Raiders are not going to change who they were. They continued to be the same pathetic team defensively. And the Chiefs shredded them. And according to you, Andy Reid didn't even need to call the good plays. And so therefore, it's simply the Raiders stink. And the Chiefs have been impressive against the Raiders. And the Raiders basically only in terms of offensive production. So while the Chiefs, in my opinion, are still tier 1 in the AFC, and I actually would say that the Patriots are tier 2 alone as well, I don't think that.
So your AFC power rankings go Kansas City, New England,
yes,
and then like Buffalo.
Yep.
Who's with Buffalo? Like the Chargers?
I guess I would put the Chargers in there.
I mean, like the thing about the Chargers is
I actually I don't know, man. I have more faith in Buffalo to be consistent. The tough thing with the Chargers, I think consistency is a real struggle for them.
Yeah, the Ravens are
Ravens are too banged up.
They're dead. Yeah, well, not dead, but like they need, like, if Lamar's out, they're fucked. But like,
hey, language.
Sorry.
Okay. Next one is the loss that shouldn't be taken as hard as the L might seem.
Well, I think that we talked about the easy of these, and I'm not going to go there.
Don't be.
Yeah,
easy.
I'm not going to go there. Man, this one. I'm trying to think. I mean, not that many teams lost that are a contender. I mean, the Bengals is the easy one, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the Bengals are the easy one. The football team's another one.
Do you think so, though? Because I'll actually give you the counter argument to that. The Bengals were getting rocked in that game and kind of had to play YOLO ball to get back into it.
Same with Washington, too, and same with the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Like, who are the teams? Like, the Panthers don't matter. The Steelers don't matter. The Jets don't matter. The Jaguars don't matter. The Raiders don't matter. The Texans don't matter.
Yeah.
The Lions don't matter. The Giants don't matter. So it's either Buffalo, Cincinnati, football team, or Ravens. And I think the thing is that loss was bad for the Ravens. Like, the thing is, the Ravens showed, like, again, John Harbaugh is the coach of the year. The fact that they covered today, not only the teaser, but also the point spread, like, they should not have, right? So they're gritty. I just don't think, like, moving forward, can you win without literally any of your players? It's going to be hard. So let me go with football team. I thought the football team played hard in this game.
That's very kind of you to say.
And I think Dallas put it on them early, but Dak still didn't look great. Mm-hmm. And, that's another win that might not be as impressive as it looks. But the football team fought back, and I'll give them that.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Bills.
Bills is the easy one, right?
Yeah, and the worrisome part about this is obviously that Josh Allen is a little banged up. But I do think that Josh Allen, the New England game obviously was not great, but a lot of that was his receivers failing to show up for that game. He had a command of that game. He was the better quarterback in the second half. And, they ended up losing the game. But I actually think that this to me makes me more confident in them being, a real contender in the AFC than I think a loss to the Bucs in general would have.
Yeah, so. I think if you're a fan of New England, if you're a fan of Kansas City, if you're a fan of any team that's a real contender, you should be a big-time Patriots fan next week, right? You want Buffalo out of the playoffs because Josh Allen's a good quarterback. You don't want to face him, and Sean McDermott's a good coach. You do not want to face that team. You'd rather face Indianapolis. As much as I like them and as much as I think they're sharp, you want to face Indianapolis or even the Chargers. I mean, honestly, the Chargers.
Yeah, of course.
You want to face the Broncos more than you want to face.
No kidding.
You want Buffalo, but Buffalo's got one tough game left, and then everything else is kind of smooth sailing. So you need New England to win, and then you basically need and New England's actually in a couple weeks, but you need New England to beat them, and then like kind of hope that it all gets bunched up at 10-7, and you get some sort of like tiebreakers, with Indianapolis and so forth. So they're a tough out. They're going to be a tough out even as a wild card team.
Okay, let's get to week 15 because we have a full slate here. Before we do, if you're going to place some bets, and I suggest that you do so immediately because these lines will move, you'll want to go to DraftKings and the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Do they have that in New Jersey?
What's that? DraftKings?
I think they
of
do.
course they do.
Yeah, so if you're in New Jersey, as long as you're not betting on the Jets or the Giants, which we advise you not to do. Just don't do it, okay? Don't bet on the Jets. Learn from Eric. Don't bet on the Jets. Mm-hmm. Use promo code PFF. Get the opportunity to bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. It is just that simple at DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you're in a place, unlike New Jersey, where you can't bet, DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contests have huge draft prizes, and you can use PFF.com and the DFS Optimizer with your PFF subscription, which you can get for 25% off with promo code FORECAST to win those as well. Plus, DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at $1 million. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF, bet $1 on any team to score, and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code PFF. At DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania. Only new customers are the ones that are eligible. Minimum $5 deposit. $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. We are on to week 15. There are no more buys. There is Thursday night football. There is Saturday night football. There is Saturday, mid-afternoon football. There is Sunday and Monday football.
You'll love to see
God,
it. You do. Yeah, I mean,
I'm so glad to be done with
next
college.
Sunday night's going to be a privilege, though. Holy buckets!
It will be. The Saturday games are interesting. I need to make a plea here, though. Okay, we're on East Coast time. Can you please make the Saturday games just more in the middle of the day?
Yeah.
Can I just go to bed at a normal hour, please? God damn it. Okay, Thursday night, Chiefs Chargers in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. What did you make the spread on this game?
Chiefs -3.5.
I made it Chiefs -3.
We're about there. Chiefs are -3.5, -101 on Pinnacle, so it's trending 3. Our numbers like the Chiefs more, and they're going to like them more after this week than they do the Chargers, although the Chargers did have an impressive win this week against the Giants. I don't think I can bet either side. The total on this game, 50.5. The last time these two teams played, it went under. Chiefs have gone over twice since week 5. They both happened against the Raiders. Against the Chargers, every game that Mahomes has played against the Chargers, I believe, has gone under for a few years now. Last year, the only one that went over was the Chad Henne game. So 50.5 might be a look to the under, although if the Chiefs again call the good plays, who knows? And Justin Herbert, by the way, hit some of the throws he made today were just unbelievably good. And I know that the Giants stink, but he was wonderful today without Keenan Allen too.
Keenan Allen should be back for Thursday. Austin Eckler might not be, though. Tight turnaround. This is devastating for my fantasy team. Absolutely devastating for my fantasy team. Although Brandon Staley said it was just I think he said bruised ankle or something like that. But on a tight turnaround, I don't know. You think this settles at 3?
Yeah. I think people like the Chargers.
If it settles at 3 even money, will you bet the Chiefs?
Yeah. If it's 3 -100, yeah, I'll bet them. I think look, it could even get to 2.5. I'd be surprised. I know people love the Chiefs, but I feel like people love Herbert too, and so
but beating the Giants can't matter for
much.
But
here's the thing: the Chiefs
and
today.
People are going to buy into the Chiefs defense.
So Mike Hughes today had 2 forced fumbles. He also had a fumble return for a touchdown. He was starting in the place of L'Jarius Sneed, who had a tragic, his brother got killed this week, and and then they were Rashad Fenton was kind of banged up, although he did play. So their secondary is not quite at full strength for the Chiefs. That saw the line. So when all the Raiders injuries came in, the Chiefs got out to -10.5, and then it got back to 9.5 after the Chiefs stuff came in. You might see that a little bit this week. It was kind of an interesting week where the Raiders injuries came out a day before the Chiefs did, and so the line movement was kind of interesting there. So I'm not too enthusiastic about betting the side and total of this game, but it'll be fun.
If it gets 2.5, I would be very excited about that.
The Chargers came into this week about 2-1 to win the AFC West. So if you look at like money line on this game, Chargers are plus 165. I think you almost want to go to the division market. If you like the Chargers straight up, you might want to go to the division market and think about like a plus 200. I don't know if it's staying plus 200. Both teams won. I'd have to look at what that gets reissued as, but you probably are going to get longer odds for the Chargers to win the AFC West than you would for Kansas City. And the Chargers have a pretty easy schedule moving forward, and they would have the same record as Kansas City and a tiebreaker, obviously, by virtue of sweeping them. So that might be the play if you like the Chargers in this game, might be to get better odds on the division.
All right. Saturday. This game is at 4. The 4:30. Raiders at Browns in Cleveland. Remember last year, this game was played in Cleveland between the Raiders and the Browns in awful weather, just excruciatingly terrible weather. And the Raiders won and covered that game. What do you have? I'll go first here. I have Browns minus 5.5.
I'm off here. I got Browns minus 3.5. I can't stand Baker Mayfield at this point.
It is 6.5.
Yeah.
Although plus 105. So I guess that's more like 6. I don't know why.
Well, at Pinnacle, it's minus 116.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I
you're
meant.
trending 7 here.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
The people like the Browns, and I understand why. From player 2 to 53, they're better than most teams in the league. It's just at the QB position, and I think the Raiders are a team where you wonder, okay.
No, it's trending 6. It's minus 6.5 plus 105.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So if you, and I get the money on the Raiders. I mean, like the issue with the Raiders is short rest, all that kind of stuff. You wonder if they're still going to play hard for this coach, right? Because they kind of had a game effort against Dallas on Thanksgiving. But other than that, the last month has been basically a bunch of horrible efforts.
Can I just say something about I hear this a lot, like, have these guys given up on their coach? These dudes are playing for their lives. This isn't like, oh yeah, I need to go out there and play well so I can like play hard for my coach.
Yeah, but
that's fucking bullshit.
But it's not though, because
yes,
explain Jacksonville then.
They're bad. Jacksonville is bad. Do you think that the players out there are playing poorly because they don't want Urban Meyer to succeed?
I think Jacksonville and why I bet
they
every
suck
alternate
because
spread,
Urban Meyer sucks.
I bet every alternate spread against them, and against them this week because, I'm not saying they're quitting.
NFL players, especially on the Raiders, who are a team of not super young players.
Sure.
Jacksonville is super young. Are playing and trying to play well so that they can make money. This is their profession.
Yeah, but football is a very interconnected and
if their coach
correlated
sucks,
game.
They will not be as good.
But you can play football selfishly, right? Like you can play football to try to optimize your own earnings and still play in a way that is not conducive to winning. And there is an aspect of that is that if you're not bought into what's happening, that's what we're talking. No one's talking about, the guy's not going to try hard. No, you're going to get killed if you go out there and go half speed. It's more of are you still working as a team? Are you still sort of being?
Are you trying to win the
force
game?
multiplier? Yeah, I can guarantee you that a player on a losing team, when they are playing hard, it is a different playing hard than a team that's a guy that's trying to win.
If they have no chance to win, you're talking about the Jags. The Jags have no shot to win the game. The Raiders have a legitimate shot to win this game.
I agree, but
and they have a quarterback that's like a real quarterback.
Like I said, I have them plus 3.5 in this game. That's my take. But the issue is, in my opinion, there could be some lack of buy-in going down the stretch. Like, you don't agree that you don't agree that it's the little things. It's like it's watching film. It's like it's buying into the game plan. It's those secondary things. It's like it's literally if you're tight end guy knowing the guards assignment, right? You can down block the hell out of a DN and not know the guards assignment. It's only going to show up once out of every 10 plays, but it's going to have an impact on the game. And if you're not like actually mentally bought in, and having an interim coach, right? The question, I think the question's a reasonable one.
This is just your way of talking about how dominant the Chiefs are. I get it. We'll move on. I can see right through you. Patriots.
Wait, but that would imply the Chiefs aren't as dominant because they beat a team that's like sort of.
No. The Chiefs broke their will. That's what you're saying implicitly.
Twice.
You are saying that the Chiefs broke the Raiders' will, and now they won't be able to try hard again.
Well,
I get it.
The will was imposed today.
Yeah, congratulations. We'll hang the banner. All right, let's go to Patriots, Colts.
Pats -1.
Okay. I have Pats -2.5.
It's Colts -1. Actually trending -2. Yeah. I don't actually like this. I think, honest to goodness, this is the fade on like the public love of the Patriots, which I think is a little bit overblown given.
Yeah, because that game, that was such a weird and wonky game because of the weather. I get that, and this is obviously not going to be that. It's going to be in Indianapolis in a dome. I struggled with this one because I think both these teams are good. The Patriots have been very good recently, and you could make this, I think, either side favored, but you're not getting to 3 either way. I think it's one of these games.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's really bettable at this number. Total 44. That seems about right. Total on Raiders Browns is 43.5. Trending under.
What's the total here?
44. Pats Colts.
I kind of like the over.
I think the Colts defense will be good enough to stop the Patriots. I'm talking myself into Colts because I also think the Patriots defense is.
But both offenses are good.
Yeah, they're good at they're not
matriculating the ball down the field.
Exactly. They're both slow, I think. I could be wrong. I mean, they're both kind of they're both the run, not run first, but they're both they're not high flying offenses, let's say.
Oh man, the disdain.
Yeah.
I guess you would know about not high flying offenses having watched the Chiefs for so much this If you had to bet on one of these teams in this game, basically
Colts.
Pick them. You'd bet the Colts.
Yeah.
Man, there's something weird to me about knowing how much Belichick has owned the Colts, even though it's a completely different team.
Yeah.
Colts
beat them in an AFC Championship game once.
It's still stuck.
Peyton got his first Super Bowl. That was fun
on me. Yeah, this will be. I'm just really excited to watch this game.
I think by that time on Saturday, I will be sick and tired of crappy bowl games. So yeah, I agree.
I'm leaning. I thought I would lean Colts, but I'm kind of leaning Patriots here, and I'm not really sure why. I do worry about the Colts passing offense. They don't have a ton of weapons, and the Patriots are just so good at shutting that down with the talent they have on the back end. Whereas with the Patriots, they've got a lot of guys who, they can target. None of them are, incredible standouts, but I'm not sure that the Colts secondary is quite what the Patriots secondary is. I don't think it is. So I think I'm leaning Patriots. All right. Sunday, 1 p.m. slate. Cowboys, Giants in New York.
I had Giants getting 8.5 at home.
I had Giants getting 5.5.
It is 10.5.
Holy Jesus. Oh, because is Daniel Jones not back?
So this is the point. It doesn't matter, right? Like that's like the biggest own is like they don't really care if it's Glennon or him. Plus,
Man, this is
it's trending 10. I can't take the Giants here. Total on the game 45.
This is one of your sicko bets.
Yeah, but like the Giants.
I would definitely only bet this if I thought Daniel Jones was going to be back.
The Giants are also just like
they're not very good.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from the Cowboys? I mean, Micah Parsons is it. I think one of the funniest things about the Micah Parsons becoming a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, maybe even favorite, is that it took an injury. Like they didn't see that he was dominant as a pass rusher anywhere through camp or like any practice. They weren't like, oh my God, this guy's a freak. He's torching linemen.
They used him kind of creatively in week 1 against Tampa.
In what way? Put him in the middle of the field and let Tom Brady.
They blitzed him a decent. Didn't they blitz him a lot in the week 1? I remember him being. I agree that he wasn't
in the
Lawrence
second
Taylor
half
at
when
the
they
time.
were like, wow, we really can't put this guy in coverage.
I agree that he wasn't Lawrence Taylor, but like I
remember they had an injury to the defensive line, and that's why they ended up playing him there week 2. And then they're like, oh my God, this guy's really, really great. And that's kind of that's been hugely important for their defense.
Yeah, I guess 13 pass rushes. 3 pressures in week 1, but then it went up to 27 and 8 in week 2 against the Chargers. Yeah, so I hate to bring this back, but the Dallas Cowboys give me big-time Chiefs vibes, where their offense should be better, and it's not. And the defense, which was more or less, maligned most of the year, won them a game today, right? Like, and you actually look at this, so like going into the week, if you look at yards per play allowed by defenses in the NFL, Dallas is 29th at 5.9. Chiefs are 31st at 6.0. Like, but Dallas is 15% turnover rate, 16% of the drives end in turnovers. Chiefs were at 13, so like being papered over a little bit. Mm-hmm. Funny, Washington football team was 28th in yards per play allowed coming into the week. Baltimore's 30th. That's the vibe I get, right? So then the question becomes, for Dallas, do you have faith that Dak Prescott can become an elite quarterback again, right? Because he's been that way, and he played that way multiple times throughout the year. But since he came back from the calf injury, it's only come back. It's only been spurts of him playing really well, and today is included in that. And their defense just won him a game. Like Dak was 22 of 39. 211, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Like we're lucky the game went under because of a missed extra point, but like the game should have gone over because of turnovers, not because of great play by either offense.
That's a lot of points. It's a lot of points.
The familiarity thing helps too, right? So familiarity within division. That's why I put it at 8.5. I think if you gave me like 7, I would lay it with Dallas. I think 10.5, it's juiced. It's juiced a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's honestly hard to back a team as bad as the Giants. Like
the Giants are scarily close to the Jets, Texans, Lions, Triumvirate. Actually, I'm not even going to put the Lions in there because the Lions cover. The Jets, Texans, disaster. And Jaguars disaster. That's the triumvirate. The Giants are really close.
If you bet over or Detroit or both in every game, Detroit will cover one of them, right?
It's true.
Like that. That's how. But like New York,
Dan Campbell way.
New York's offense is just so bad. And their defense has not played as good as I thought that they would under Patrick Graham this year. Even though where are they? They're not so bad, like from an efficiency standpoint at times. They're like 16th in yards per play, but like, EPA is similar. I mean, but like they're just not good enough offensively. Like they just and their coach loves to kick, and it's just like can't win, can't do it.
Texans, Jaguars. I had this as a pick. No one cares.
Jacks minus 2.5 is what I have. It is
Jaguars are 3-point.
Yeah,
favorites.
I mean, you just take. The problem is Davis Mills is horrendous. Like it's just, and Dave Culley, like
how can the Jaguars be favored if they've given up?
I was talking to somebody the other day who who knows more than me, and was like, "This is as bad as it looks," and I was like,
I feel like it might be worse.
Yeah, I honestly think the best thing that ever happened to the Houston Texans was the Jacksonville Jaguars, and furthermore, like the New York Giants and the Minnesota Vikings and all these other teams
the Jaguars are making the Texans look functional.
I wouldn't say that, but
who coaches the Jaguars next year? Who should they?
Well, here's the real tricky thing, and Brad Spielberger, who actually was like telling me all this stuff about the Jags chapter and verse like the day before it happened, he was telling me that coaches and GMs have offset language, and I think this might particularly screw the Jaguars because ain't nobody signing Urban Meyer.
No.
So you're on the hook
paying.
for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're on the hook for that.
But Shad Khan's here to win.
Win what?
More than what he's got right now.
Like professional wrestling competitions or what?
You absolutely cannot have Trevor Lawrence, who potentially generational talent, and
like Darrell Bevel
and Urban Meyer. Like you just can't.
But the problem is what I could see happening.
It doesn't matter how much money Urban Meyer's making.
What I could see potentially happening is what you're seeing in Houston right now, which is we're gonna hit the reset button, and it's not looking good right now.
So you think they're gonna hire a random person?
Okay. So here's the question: over under 1.5 seasons for David Culley in Houston.
I think it depends. No, but there's the Texans and the Jaguars are totally different.
You think Jacksonville is delusional about where they are, and at least Houston's acknowledged that they're terrible?
No, there's two humongous differences. One, the Jacksonville Jaguars just drafted a quarterback, number one overall, that is one of the best quarterback prospects that we've ever seen. Number two, how many things have leaked about David Culley that have been disparaging?
Well, but that was always the point about David Culley.
Right. So my point is simply the Jaguars literally cannot go into next year with Urban Meyer as head coach.
But I agree. But they might go into the year because of Urban's contract.
No, the contract is not getting in the way. There is zero chance that Shad Khan can risk losing $8 million. All
right,
He's a shrewd businessman. He understands that you cannot spend.
Oh, no. I see your explanation here, and I raise you how many years Doug Marrone coached that team.
Doug Marrone was not a trash fire. Urban Meyer is literally a trash fire.
Doug Marrone in 5 years in Jacksonville.
Eric, how many times did Doug Marrone not take the team flight home, go to a bar that he owned, and get caught on film grinding with a 25-year-old woman?
But you're
How many times did Doug Marrone call his assistant coaching staff losers? How many times did Doug Marrone?
You are confusing two different things.
Oh, am I?
I agree that Urban Meyer. Like the problem is, the David Culley thing represents a good human being who is probably not fit to be an NFL head coach.
Why are we bringing David Culley into this?
Because I think that the transition year is going to happen. Right, this team, the Jaguars, put up with Doug Marrone as the head coach for 5 seasons. He was 23 and 43.
Everyone
but to
has
your
to
point,
agree with me on this.
To your point, he was a decent human being, right? Like this idea that Shad Khan, that he's only been in it for winning, and like Urban Meyer was like this moonshot that if he worked out, great. If he didn't, let's move on. That they weren't going to do some transitional year. Like I think the Jags could hire like a sort of cheap head coach a la Culley and do 1 year with him. That's what I think. You think they go straight from big contract Herb to big contract next guy?
What is there? You have one shot at getting a quarterback that is legit. You have to take chances. You're seriously?
You're describing and
they will actually have a chance.
Zach asked me if I was going to Jacksonville Jagsplain, but like
the difference is that the Jaguars have a quarterback and a franchise that other coaches would actually want to coach for. The Texans did not. Remember this offseason, perhaps, that they were a complete and utter clown show.
The Jags are not a complete and utter clown show?
That's exactly my point. It's Urban's fault, and Urban will be out. And then a team will look at it and they will go, oh, I have a supportive owner. I have number 1 overall pick. This is an attractive
This is a team
spot.
that signed Nick Foles to a $20 million deal so that he would have respect in the locker room. I think you're overestimating what the Jaguars were before Urban Meyer.
Oh my God!
Right? Like, I agree that they're not currently where Houston is.
You're telling me that an incoming potential head coach is going to sit there and go, Trevor Lawrence, Florida, AFC South. Oh, but wait. They wanted Nick Foles
Florida's doing a lot of work.
They wanted Nick Foles to come in and be a locker room presence. There's not a single head coach or head coaching candidate that is worried about the fact that they signed Nick Foles, buddy. No chance.
Okay, I'm telling you, This is a guy who went 10-6 and went to the AFC Championship game and still had 20 games under 500 as the Jaguars coach, and they put up with it for a long freaking time. And again, I'm not saying that they're to where Houston is. I'm saying when you average it out, it is an equally dysfunctional situation. And I think they're going to have an equally difficult time getting a coach.
That's ridiculous. Anyways, we move on. The Titans and the Steelers. This is in Pittsburgh. I had the Steelers as a 2.5-point underdog.
I had Pittsburgh -1.
Ooh, interesting. It is Pittsburgh plus 2.5. -115.
Okay, so are we teasing Tennessee stinks right now, right?
Yeah, they're not great. And the win against the Jaguars is not something super meaningful. I guess my question...
A real playoff team wins that game today by 40.
Yeah. My question is, what do you make of the Steelers after, what happened in Minnesota? That's a super weird game to try.
I think it's a team that's coming off of a long rest, who has a coach that has a lot of pride. That team was not...
at home.
Yeah, at home.
Yeah, I do really like the Steelers tease. That's a good call.
I don't think Pittsburgh's good. I don't think either of these teams are good, especially in their current form. But I think Pittsburgh's healthier in a weird way, and Tennessee just can't get it together, right? Again, they played great defense today, but how do you know, right? The Jags offense, but and also their defense rushed the passer really well, and we saw Minnesota's dog-ass defense sack Big Ben 6 times and a half, right? So I'm conflicted here. I just think it's going to be a one-score game where Pittsburgh plus 8.5 is probably a solid teaser leg.
I'm with you. Jets-Dolphins in Miami. Would you have this one?
I said Miami -6.5.
Okay. Your Jets fandom sticking out. I had Dolphins -9.
It's -8.5.
Okay.
I can't bet it. 43 is a total. Man, Zach Wilson, how did he look today? I don't even know anymore.
You said, what did you say? 6.5?
Yeah.
It's not. It's 8.5, and you can't bet it. You were on the other side of 7. This just shows you are trying so hard. You're trying hard to stick up for your Jets.
The Jets almost screwed that under today because they gave up an 80-yard touchdown to Taysom Hill in the final seconds and then drove the length of the field, and Wilson got tackled at the 1. So the game landed 39. The total was 42. We had under in that game. And I can't with the Jets. I just freaking can't. Robert Salah, I had so much higher. I had so much for this guy in terms of an opinion, and now I'm just not sure. Do they just not have good players? They're worse in the NFL in yards per play defensively. It might just be they don't have players. But they also scored 9 points against the Saints team that I know that has a decent defense, but for the most part has been really banged up. They're the Saints slump buster today.
Their players are really not very good.
So you're saying, is Salah going to get a chance in this team?
I think he gets another year. Yeah. The Dolphins, by the way, have a outside chance of making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Which kudos to Brian Flores.
Solid.
Washington goes to Philadelphia. I have the Eagles favored by 2.5.
Yes, same here.
They are favored by 4.
All right, are we going to take football team? Well, we don't know who the quarterback is. Heineke is reportedly going to be healthy enough to play, but
I will not be betting on Kyle Allen.
So Washington +4 in Philly. Philly off of a bye. Washington off of their first loss in like a month.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Washington was all of their entire defensive line getting COVID or being put on the COVID list. And you would assume that the guys that are close contacts will be back. I'm not sure that that Philadelphia should be favored by more than 3 against any decent team. But I do think there are a lot of question marks here in this game.
Yeah.
Cardinals go to Detroit to play the Lions. I have the Cardinals favored by 13.5.
Yeah, where am I here? Ours. Oh, where am I here? It's on my piece of paper.
You're old school with the paper.
I know. I went through this while at the airport today. I actually missed this one. Let's just see what it is.
14.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me. I don't know. This feels like a game that the Lions cover.
Oh, I had this turned around. Oh yeah, I had 13.5. I'm sorry. Like I had the wrong order.
A little letdown spot for the Cardinals. I'm just gonna say.
Short rest. Detroit game all the time. Problem is, are any of those players on their defense catching Murray? No. Like if he breaks a long run or like James Conner. How many touchdowns does James Conner get in this game? 4? It's going to tilt the heck out of like the fantasy people. This is one of those games.
Yeah. Panthers-Bills in Buffalo. Wow, the Panthers. They stink. It's incredible that they went through such a They have gone through such a rigmarole at quarterback, only to end up with quarterbacks that have all been way worse than Teddy Bridgewater. It's just so.
And you're
funny.
a Teddy Bridgewater denier. Like,
yeah, I'm just not like putting him in the Hall of Fame immediately.
Yeah,
but
he's a check down Hall of Famer, I think.
Jesus.
I think Buffalo should be laying 10.
That's what I had as well. I don't see this on.
No, I think the quarterback situation's too in flux.
Pinnacle.
By the way, has anybody nailed Cam Newton's rating better than me?
You've been on it.
Everybody's wrong about him.
Yeah, even he is wrong about himself.
Yeah, I'm back. Well, maybe that's an old takes exposed. We should send that.
Dude, the number of times that I've seen like a memes account, NFL memes, just use that it's really impressive.
Yeah. Has any quarterback who came off the bench to run for a touchdown gotten more like publicity than Cam?
No.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill. Sunday, 4 p.m. slate. We have 4 games. Bengals, Broncos in Denver. I feel like this is going to be sneakily one of the best games of the weekend. Yeah. I have the Broncos getting 1.
I said getting 2.5.
Sorry, 1.5.
Yeah, and the market's saying they're laying 1.5.
Yeah.
So we should be Bengals fans. We should tease Bengals up to 7.5, I think, is a good teaser. Total is 43.5. That's low enough to really like.
I agree with you.
I think 43.5 is actually a good over.
Agree there as well.
Altitude kickers can make kicks. Burrow has been great other than the interceptions, but interceptions are good for overs for the most part, right? Because they often will lead to return touchdowns and all that stuff. I think Teddy. This is interesting though. Like I think literally this is a game. This is like Teddy and the Broncos have been great this year at covering against bad teams, right? Like Detroit. Like that's why I didn't bet Detroit, even though
Detroit also had a mash unit.
Right, but remember the Bengals or the Broncos' first 3 games. It was like the Jets, the Jags, and like the Giants, and they were like killing all of them. And then once it got to playing like a real team, it was like it was tough. And the Bengals aren't great, and the Bengals are less than 50% now, as our buddy Steve Kornacki said on Football Night in America. But
he's back.
They are a real team, and I think Denver will struggle with them.
Before we get to the last set of games, if you would like a chance to win the Ultimate Game Day Feast for the ultimate football game that occurs in February, you can do so with Western and Southern. Very simply, Western and Southern helps you put your financial success first, just like our buddy Chris Collinsworth helps you figure out your football point of view on his podcast, Chris Collinsworth podcast. He'll also be answering questions on the Western and Southern Instagram. And you can go ask Chris a question and enter to win a fully catered $2,500 big game celebration. It happens on February 13th. You know what I'm talking about. You can ask Chris any question about Sunday night. You can ask him something about financial analysis. He'll get some help there from Western and Southern. It'll be a good time. Go to westernsouthern.com/askchris to ask your question and see if it ends up being chosen and enter to win your big game meal for all of your friends and family. You can check out the answers to those questions on YouTube with the Chris Collinsworth podcast, and again on Western and Southern's Instagram. It's westernsouthern.com/askchris. westernsouthern.com/askchris. Okay. Next 4 p.m. game. Our Falcons go to San Francisco to play my Niners. Our Falcons are in danger. They're still in the hunt, baby. They're in danger of making the playoffs.
Well, no. We need one more win.
One win.
Yeah, I just want. I'm not even going for the over. I'm going for a push.
You just want the push, huh?
Art, look at me. One more. Like, you can have a minus 200 point differential all you want, but if you finish 7-10, you got me. Like, this Falcons team is a 3-win team.
They're so bad.
They're so bad. But you're gonna win.
Come.
Like, look at this. Yeah, George, we might even get the over on this, but look at this schedule. And it starts with the Niners. A team they beat the year the Niners they beat them in Candlestick.
I know.
The year they went to the Super Bowl. But you got Falcons at Niners. At Niners, home to Lions. You beat the Lions at home.
Do you think he's watching right now?
Maybe he is. Like
Art Smith.
And then
listener,
at Buffalo,
viewer,
catch Buffalo on a crappy night. Who knows? What if it's snowy in Buffalo?
Let me tell you the only thing I'm learning from this really passionate speech. The Falcons are about to go 0 for the rest of the season.
And then they have home to Saints. Beat Taysom Hill. You're 0 for 2 against Taysom Hill.
Okay.
It's yours.
I have the Niners favored by 8.5.
I have 6.5. You're right. It is 8.5. Am I taking Atlanta? Am I that big of a sicko? I think that this Falcons team is the kind of team that Shanahan runs all the good plays against and absolutely like donkeys. I don't.
That's what I think too.
I think this, like, even though
the Niners are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, good for them. But I think in this particular game, this is a game where Shanahan, the only way that the Niners don't win this game is if Jimmy G throws picks, right?
Agreed.
By the way, what happened to Trey Lance? The guy's not getting on the field anymore.
I don't want to talk about it.
Does it make you sad?
It does. It does. That means he stinks. He's not even getting Trey Lance packages.
I know.
It's bad. It's so bad that I wonder how the Green Bay thing ends with Rodgers and whether the Niners say, fuck it, we're making a run.
So what's the package look like? Because you don't have any first-round picks.
Right. It would have to be something where you trade Lance to get first-round picks and you ship those to Green Bay.
But, Lance ain't getting a first.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. If Lance can't unseat Garoppolo, that dude's market is late one.
What's the market for Garoppolo if he holds off Trey Lance?
Well, so that's the only thing, because I actually thought you were going to say something a little bit different, which was Jimmy G's actually played okay.
He has.
And so I feel more encouraged, because the reason that you should be encouraged is that I think Garoppolo has played a lot better than expectation this year, even if he hasn't been great. And that's held off Lance. But the problem is that should not have held off Lance, right?
Yes.
Garoppolo playing at this level of football should not have held off Lance. And they're in a sucky situation because it has, right? You're gonna have to play out the string with Lance.
The hope that I have is that the reason he's not playing at all is that they don't want him spending time practicing gimmicky plays.
Yeah, the good plays.
They're like, look, we want you to actually practice being a real quarterback. So we're not going to spend time in practice with you, doinking around doing, gimmicky goal line packages. We want you, so that's my hope. Garoppolo has played well of late. He's still the 20th ranked quarterback in PFF grade, 74 PFF grade. Great. That's fantastic. Again, it scares me that he's holding off.
Here's the question. What if the rumors were true What if Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, and he had to take Lance because of public pressure? Sorry, and by the way, we didn't advocate for Lance. We advocated for Fields. Like, let's make that distinction. We did not. We had Lance fifth, or I had Lance fifth, and he goes all Matt Nagy on it, right? Where it's like, you put this quarterback.
No, stop. I refuse. The conspiracy theories are ridiculous. You were on an absolute tear with these
You don't
theories.
think Matt Nagy was sabotaging Justin Fields for the first part of?
No, I just think Matt Nagy stinks.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just
don't attribute to malice, which you can easily attribute to incompetence.
Being a doofus. Yes. No. Here's the thing. The reason that no one had anything against Mac Jones, the point was that, as you saw,
if you're going to trade up that far,
you could have gotten Mac Jones where you originally were, and that would have been fine.
Do you know that Garoppolo has the highest passing grade in our system from week 8 on?
Yeah, he's been really, really good.
Yeah.
He still throws.
It's only 82. That shows you where the league is from a passing.
He still throws the ball to a defender every single game.
Mm-hmm. He's very nice of him.
It's incredible. He's a giving man. Seahawks Rams in Los Angeles.
I said LA would be favored by 7.
I said 5.5.
Where?
It's 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought long and hard about this. I knew it was going to be 7. And
you're going to take Seattle?
I don't think it should be 7.
Well, we'll see tonight. I mean, everybody knows my opinion on the LA Rams. I think that they have a lot of good players. I don't think that they're a great team. They have a good coach, but I don't think he's an elite coach.
Here's the thing.
Seattle stinks, though.
I couldn't find a single reason why the Seahawks should be within 7 points of the Rams, except that there's this back of my head, oh yeah, Russell Wilson is still Russell Wilson somewhere in there. And that caused me to want to put
Russ made some throws today. I think he's coming around. Honestly, it's so bad, but like, if they win that game on Monday Night Football in Washington, the one that Brett Favre got mixed up on, that they're in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And they have a freaking easy schedule. Like, if you look at Seattle's schedule, right?
Past this game.
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks schedule. I mean, it goes Rams, Bears at home. I mean, that's going to be not great. Then home to Lions, and then at Cardinals. By then, the Cardinals are clinched, right? Like, where they're at 5 wins now. So, like, you get to 8. 8 and 9's going to get in the playoffs. The problem is they have the loss of tiebreaker with Minnesota. They lost a tiebreaker with Washington. Like, they've missed out on some opportunities this year, even if Russ missed 3 games. But if they win this game, they go 9-8. That 9-8 might be clear of every other crappy team.
I know everything points, like literally every logical argument says Rams boat race the Seahawks, and I don't know. Okay, Packers Ravens. We don't know if this is going to be Lamar. What would you make this if Lamar is playing?
2.5. Baltimore a 2.5 dog.
Yeah. I was basically there. So I said with Huntley, I would make it 8.
Yeah.
And so I think with Lamar, that's probably 6.5.
Right.
Difference. So plus 1.5. Yeah.
Yep.
Sucks. The Ravens have just had a brutal.
Yeah, the Ravens. Unfortunately, expectations are not great. Like when you go 8-3 to start, we all think that they're a great team, but in reality, like, they were winning close games and now they've lost the close games. And, I think ultimately they're a great franchise, but this is just not their year. Like,
what is Lamar's contract going to look like?
Well, I think they do it this offseason for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's probably 4 years.
It's not Josh Allen.
I think it's higher than Josh Allen. I don't think he's not, because Josh Allen hasn't blown the world up this year. I think it's, this is more Brad's thing, but I would say probably 4 years APY of 45.
Interesting.
Allen's 43.
Interesting.
Lamar has overcome a lot this year.
I agree. I'm here for paying him. I'm just interested in what they do, because here's the thing: the Ravens understand what I think, and they will have this conversation with Lamar, which is, hey, you want to win a Super Bowl, we need to be able to put some freaking pieces around you. Like, you've seen what happens when you don't have those pieces around you. So I think that one will be interesting. Saints-Bucks on Sunday Night Football. I have the Bucks favored by 11.5.
Yeah, I said 10, and you're right. It is 11.5.
Yep.
Total 46.5. Bucks show today, even when they play a game kind of under, it still goes over. But I just don't know if the Saints have any horses to beat the Bucks.
No, they do not. That's why it's an 11.5 point spread.
But I also think with the total, like, what are you going to do with the total? It's 46.5. You know, the Bucks win this game 38-3, and it's like it still goes under. I think that's – but also the Bucks have lost to the Saints the last 3 times they've played in the regular season with Brady. Obviously, they won in the divisional round last year, so that, you know, is a thing. But, you know, do the Bucks just open a can here and win like 51-3? That's the total argument you make.
I do think it will be rather hard for the Saints offense, unfortunately. Fortunately for them. Monday Night Football, your Minnesota Vikings go to Chicago to play Justin Fields. And the once was having fun in the first half against the Packers, Matt Nagy.
Yeah. I said Chicago plus 3.5.
I said plus 3.
I think it is 3.5 was what the number was. I know they took it down for a little bit.
Yeah.
Minnesota has won like 3 games in Soldier Field in the last like 20 years. That's obviously playing into it. Kirk did go to Soldier Field on a Monday night last year and win. It was the Matt Nagyest BU games of all BU games, though, with Nick Foles. Because like I think tonight's game was a little weird because you had the touchdown on special teams, but the Packers that had a touchdown on defense kind of cancel each other out. Fields, I thought, looked competent, not great. Do you think that he can beat do you think that they can be like a competitive team against like a Minnesota Vikings?
I do.
Vikings off a big rest, right? 11 days in this one.
It's just very hard for me to trust anything with the Bears offense. Jason Peters got hurt in that game tonight. You'd obviously have to be worried about. Here's the thing. What really worries me is that the Vikings and Mike Zimmer are just really good at disguising blitzes and stuff like that. And, you know, that's been Justin Fields' bugaboo. It wasn't really in this game, but he's been blitzed at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL, and he's been not good. Bottom 5 in the NFL in basically every metric versus the blitz. So that would worry me considerably, and I think that's the reason I would stay away from this one. So that is Monday night. That is the Week 15 slate. What do we like here? I don't know that anything dramatically stuck out, but what?
Yeah, let's look at Pinnacle here. So here's some possibilities. We could tease the Rams up to 8.5 tonight. That worked last week when we had New England. So the Rams can go to 8.5. Total's 51. That's a little high. Divisional game. I also think the total is a little too high, right? So if you like under in that game, you might want to tease the Rams. They did get blown out by the Cardinals at home the last time they faced. I don't know if it's going to be that extended here. You have now. This is not going to go through 7, but if you like Cleveland against the Raiders, but you don't like minus 6.5, you can tease down to basically 0.5. Not a Wong teaser. You have the Dolphins down to 2.5 as a teaser leg. That one's reasonable. Pittsburgh up to 8.5. Niners down to -2 as a teaser leg. And then the Bengals up to 7.5 is another. So those are all teaser legs that are reasonable to like. I think just game like sides I like. Raiders plus 6.5. Although I just talked about the Cleveland Browns. Raiders plus 6.5. I could be talked into football team plus 4, although the quarterback situation's a little dicey there. You kind of like the Giants plus 10.5. but can be talked away from that by reason, I would say.
I thought, I still think the Seahawks +7.
And I do think the best bet of the day, the best bet of the week so far, we write this up, is Houston +3.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Houston. I mean, like the Jags can't be laying a field goal against anybody.
I'm with you
like
there.
that. The Jags are a
give you
pick 'em
one.
against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
I'll give you one more. Bengals.
I'm joking. That's not real. But
the Bengals
-0.5 or plus 1.5.
+1.5.
I like it. I can dig it.
I like them a lot as a teaser leg.
Yeah.
So I really like the Bengals. What was the other teaser? So Colts are 1.
Is that not up anymore?
Close to 1.5.
Oh, I see. If it gets to 1.5.
So if Colts gets to 1.5, I'd love Patriots to 7.5, Bengals to 7.5. That might be my favorite one.
Probably won't get there until later, or if it gets there at all.
Okay, well, our article will be out first thing in the morning, so go check it out on pff.com. Use promo code FORECAST and get 25% off. And that's our show. We love you. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.